I'm so thrilled to see so many of you joining us. This is a real pleasure. So I am sitting here in South Wales in the United Kingdom, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my background later, just so you can get a feel for the faculty who teach here as well. We're quite a diverse bunch, which hopefully gives all the students a great experience. But what I'm going to do briefly is just share a presentation. I want it to be quite informal. So if you have questions, Jamie's going to help moderate some of the questions, or I can take all the questions at the end. So what I'm going to do now is share this PowerPoint with you. Let's see if we can get this. I want to go into full screen. Here we go. Okay, so the MBA that I'm going to talk to you about today, we have 3 different offerings right now. We have an MBA part-time, which is obviously suitable for people who live close to South Wales. We have an MBA, which is a 1 year, and we have the MBA Global, which is actually 2 years, but the second year is a placement with a UK company. So I think this is what is going to be of most interest to you today. So I'm going to talk to you about the MBA Global. It is a very new, innovative course that we actually have just taken our 2nd cohort of students. So it's very exciting, it's fresh, it's a very novel and innovative offering here in the UK. And we have some really exciting partners that we're going to be working with for work placements. So let me tell you a little bit about the structure of the course. First of all, I wanted to, I know everybody always wants to know, how do you actually get admitted? So very briefly, we do look for a minimum of a 2-1 or equivalent. So it is, you know, it is an MBA, it's a master's, and we do expect to maintain those standards. Regarding English language, we are looking at a minimum IELTS score of 6, and obviously almost, I would say almost 98% of the current students have English as a second language. So do not be concerned about that. We are here to help. In fact, Wales, the first language of Wales is actually Welsh, and I don't speak Welsh. So we have lots of different nationalities, which I'll talk to you more about, but please do not be overly concerned. We are here to help international students. And we have September and February starts every year. So as I mentioned, we've just taken our February cohort, and the first cohort was September 2019, and they will be going out on their placements in July this year. The February cohort will be starting their placements next in January or February of 2021. So the first year is all study here so that we prepare you to go out into the workforce. And then the second year is your 10-month placement. And both of those activities, especially the placement, is covered by Tier 4. So you will only need your Tier 4 visa, which obviously we will help arrange. Okay. Any questions regarding that, Jamie, you want me to broach right now?
So far, no questions, Joanna.
Okay,
I'll let you know if any come up. Sure.
So the first year, as I said, is all study, and I'm sure this is the bit that you all get very excited about. I certainly do. I love teaching, and there are core modules that we need all our students to cover. So the core modules are listed in this table at the top, and there are 5 of them. So global strategy and emerging markets is the module that I teach, and I know we have a lot of fun doing it. It's very high level. So we do understand that a lot of students are coming from backgrounds that are not business backgrounds. So we make that assumption to begin with, and we teach you all the frameworks and everything you need to know and take you up to that master's level. So again, do not be concerned that if you have not done business as your undergraduate. Global strategy and emerging markets is, as I say, the module that I teach. It's a new module for this MBA Global program, and we talk about how to internationalize a company. There's strategic marketing, entrepreneurial and intrapreneurial leadership in a global context, strategic financial management, and strategic operations. And all of these modules have a very international focus. So there are a couple of reasons we called it the MBA Global. One is because we want to attract international students, but the second is also because the core subjects that we teach have very much an international focus. So the specialisms that you can choose from allow you to actually graduate with a specialist MBA. You do not have to specialize. If you choose not to take a specialism, the default module that you would study is project management and consultancy, and therefore you would graduate with an MBA Global. And that is quite a popular choice because some people do not want to specialize. They don't want to restrict themselves to their career with career opportunities. But if you know and you have got work experience and you know that you do want to specialize, then we offer these specialist modules in marketing, HR, entrepreneurship, supply chain, and finance. So there is an opportunity for all of you to identify what your specialism you would like to follow. Okay? So those subjects are all studied within your first year. We generally teach 3 modules at a time. Each module is 20 credits. So that is the equivalent of 200 hours. But as I say, it's a master's level, so the actual face-to-face interaction with someone like myself equates to around 4 hours a week, okay, per module. So if you're doing 3 modules, obviously that would be 12 hours classroom time per week. The reason I just want to emphasize that is because it is a master's program and we really do expect you to learn how to learn yourselves as well. It's an opportunity for you to develop your skills. We have amazing facilities here. We have a fabulous library. We have a career service. We have study skills. We have everything you could possibly need in order to facilitate your success. But I do not want anyone to be misguided that it is similar to doing an undergraduate. It is quite different, and that can be a little bit of a shock to some. But also, you know, that is why you're here studying a master's, so that you can develop your own skills, okay? So that's why I just wanted to make sure you're aware of the hours. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide. One thing I did want to mention, as I say, I like to focus on my module because I love my module. This is a screenshot from a business simulation that we use. So we really do like to incorporate blended learning. We are extremely aware that not everybody learns in the same way. So I have introduced the use of a simulation, which is done in teamwork. So please be aware that you will be expected to work in teams as well. But of course, that is really good fun because you get to work with people that you may not have traveled with or arrived with. So I really do encourage teamwork because after all, that's what we have to do in the real world. But the business simulation is another tool that helps you learn. It's all online. We do it over a period of 6 weeks at the moment using a tool from Edumundo, who are based in the Netherlands. And it is how to internationalize a cell phone company, a mobile phone company. So it's a great tool. And then we actually write I have the students writing their assessment based on the strategies that they have employed in the simulation. Okay, so I'll just talk briefly, very quickly about how we assess students as well, because it is different from undergraduates and how you may have been assessed in the countries that you are currently residing in. At a master's level, we tend to use, it's all report writing, so an assessment, a written report, rather than exams, okay? There are very rare instances, I think one of the HR modules has an exam, but really it is all assessment based. And again, that's why we ask for the IELTS of a 6, because we really need you to be able to be comfortable writing in English as well. So it's, we also have presentation assessments. So for example, each module tends to have 2 assessments. My module has 1 presentation assessment, which is done in a team, because of course that is a core employability skill as well. You will always have to do presentations throughout your career. And the second assessment is a written report. So I just want to be clear about that. But we, as I said, we do have lots of support here on campus to facilitate that work. And I'm very aware that a lot of you will only have done exams before. So do not be concerned about that. It is just a core skill that we want to develop for you before you go into the workplace. Okay. The simulation, by the way, is one I'll talk in a moment, but I actually taught at Leeds University Business School before I came to South Wales back in September. So the simulation is used by some of the top tier universities around the world. So we make sure that you have access to really incredible tools to learn with. Okay. So this is probably the bit that a lot of you are very interested in as well. The second year is the work placement. And as I mentioned, this is all within your Tier 4 visa. So we have designed the course that makes it very easy for employers to get access to you as placement students. They do not need to do anything additional. So a lot of employers are very interested in this right now. And it is a 6 to 10 month placement with a UK company. And I say UK, we do have some students who are interested in traveling to the States or actually going back to their country of origin, which is also fine as well. I just know the majority of students are looking for that opportunity to work with a UK company and get some international work experience. We have a student experience business engagement manager who is new to the department here, and her role is purely to help facilitate those placements. So you have lots of support here. And as I say, we also have a careers office. So some of the extracurricular work that I've been doing with the students recently includes writing a UK version of a resume, of a CV, involves interview skills, how to prepare for aptitude tests, and lots of the things that may be different culturally over here in the UK versus where you come from. So we have lots of support to help that as well. We have actually lots of different tools to help you identify potential placements. We have some online tools that we use, and we also have agencies, work agencies that we're working with as well. So you have lots of support to help identify those placements. Instead of a placement, you can also actually choose to stay internally at the university and work with our business clinic. The business clinic here at the University of South Wales works with a lot of different external clients. So we actually work as a consultancy, working with clients to help advise them and consult with them and help their businesses grow. So that is another alternative as well for a work placement if you would prefer to stay within the university. And then the third option, we have a brand new entrepreneurial incubator called Studio, and that is the Welsh spelling, in case you think my spelling is atrocious. But that is based down at our campus in Cardiff. We are very big on enterprise and entrepreneurial pursuits here at the University of South Wales. It is one of our key differentiators. So we really want to encourage students to develop their own business case, which you can do in that 10-month period, with the support of people down at the studio. And then, of course, there is an opportunity for you all to get post-study visas or a startup visa where you can actually implement that business case. So we are really trying to set you up for future employability should you choose to stay in the UK. Okay. And then just to finish off with a couple of slides, we are growing rapidly, as you can probably tell from the description of the course that I've given you. It's a very popular course. So in September 2019, which was our first intake, we had 58 students, which we were thrilled with. And then our numbers have dramatically increased to 160 students, and we already have a huge influx of applications for next September. So we do not have any caps right now. We are trying to accommodate every student who fits our criteria. But obviously, the more competitive it is, the more we have to take a look at that criteria and make sure that you are all complying with that admissions criteria. We're really fortunate that we have students from around the world, So I've just given you some idea here of where my current class that I'm teaching right now come from. So we have Nigeria, India, Pakistan, Nepal, Vietnam, and the UK. So it is a really fabulous, diverse group of students working together. Some have work experience, some do not. So again, please do not be concerned about what your background is. We are here to accommodate everybody. And then finally, I just wanted to give you some perspective on who actually teaches here at the university. So we all have really different backgrounds, which is one of the really fun things of working here. I myself have actually worked, I've been in the USA for the past 18 years. So I'm relatively new to being back in the UK. So I feel as international as everybody else does probably. But I have a bachelor's from the University of St. Andrews and a PhD, and I actually did my MBA in Atlanta, Georgia at the university, at Emory University, sorry. And my background is very much a corporate background rather than a traditional research, academic researcher. So what I love to bring to the table are some great examples of real life experience that I've had. I was an innovation consultant for a long time, and I got to work with some fabulous brands like Coca-Cola, Georgia Pacific, American Life Insurance. And then, of course, I worked with IHG. I was a brand director, so I've had a lot of experience in the hospitality industry, working with different brands around the world. And then before I moved here, I became a lecturer at Leeds University Business School. So some of my colleagues here, they have industry experience as well, and some have great academic research backgrounds. So hopefully, because we are so diverse, we can bring together a really great mix of experiences for you. And that is all I have for you right now. So hopefully I've covered the key aspects, but if you have questions, please, let's go to the questions.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Joanna. That was great. So we've had some questions come up in the chat, but it might make sense to look at the Q&A first. So I don't know if you can access that from...
I'm just going to have a look now. If I can, oh, the Q&A, yes, I can see it here. Okay.
Brilliant.
So, in marketing... scholarships. Okay. We don't have scholarships available right now, but I don't see why there isn't any possibility for you actually to do your own research and identify scholarships. It is a challenge. The fees actually are all on the website. I didn't want to go into fees because I know they are constantly changing. But if you check out the southwales.ac.uk website, then there will be fees on there. And I know a lot of students actually, especially the international students, they are able to come to, there are payment schemes for actually managing those fees, but also a lot of them, even on tier 4, you can work up to 20 hours a week. So several of them actually do part-time work to help with their cost of living while they're here. So that is something that is an option as well. Oh, and that was the next question, actually. I just saw that. Can we do a part-time job? Yes, you absolutely can. So I have some students who are working from, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Upwork. They're actually doing IT work from home, or they're working, some are working in the Amazon warehouse. Some are, I've got a really diverse group, actually. Some are working in McDonald's, in fast food restaurants. So everybody has an opportunity to work those 20 hours a week. And as long as you are working just the 20 hours a week within term time, then you are fine when it comes to tier 4 compliance. And in holiday time, you can, when we're not in official term here at the university, you can actually work for longer than that. You can work full time in the holidays. So that is an option as well. Okay, so the next one. Is this suitable for new graduates who don't have work experience? Absolutely. Again, I have a whole diverse range of students. I think a lot of students really like this program because it gives you the work experience that you might not have before you join an MBA. Because a lot of international MBAs around the world, I know when I did mine, we were expected to have at least 5 years experience in order to do an MBA. But we're much more flexible because we consider the placement to be your work experience. So I have some students, I have a gentleman from Malaysia who actually has 25 years of experience in law. But then I also have brand new graduates who have basically graduated last year and come straight to do an MBA. So it's completely, it's really varied. But again, that's what makes the class so exciting because everybody has different experiences that they can share. So hopefully I have answered that. How do we assess students? So I did mention this, we don't do exams. Each module at the moment has 2 assessments and both tend to be a written report. Some are what we call reflective reports where we ask you to reflect on your experience, and some are, so for example, with my module, we actually ask you to write a business report. I don't want anyone to be concerned about that because we do have support for that. We understand that a lot of you have not written reports before, but again, our focus is on employability. So we want to give you the skills that you need once you go out into the workforce. So by helping you get used to writing reports, we obviously get you prepared for what an employer would expect. We also, my module has a presentation as well. And I know some people are terrified about doing presentations, and I used to be myself, so please do not worry about that. But again, we consider it a safe space here where you can get the support from faculty members like myself. We're all friendly faces to help you work through a presentation and understand what a deliverable should look like. So we recognize you are still students and you are still learning, and we are here to give you the support you need. So hopefully that answers the assessment question. Are we eligible for post-study work without a job in the UK? You know, I'm always hesitant to answer questions regarding visas because I'm not a lawyer and I don't work for immigration. But I know that the government have recently changed the law and that post-study work visas are coming back into existence. So hopefully by the time the people on this webinar come to us, you will be able to get your post-study work visa. How that application works, I'm afraid I would much rather you ask somebody who is an expert in immigration rather than myself. But yes, they are coming back into being here in the UK. If we are working in restaurants, you know, again, finances are a tricky one for me to answer because I think really all I can do there is refer you to discuss with finance here at the university. They may have scholarships that I'm not aware of yet, but most of the students that I know who are studying the MBA Global all pay for their fees, but I know that we are very, very price competitive. That is one of our key offerings as well. So I think you will find that compared with some of the Russell Group, we are much more competitively priced. And you are able to then work to look at your cost of living. So I'm not an expert on the finance, so I would refer you to that. But I can maybe get with Jamie afterwards to get some of these questions resolved. Okay, so let's have a look. Sorry, I'm just working through these. How will the program, if I have a degree in pharmacy? Yes, absolutely. We take anybody who meets those entry criteria. So I'll try and give you some examples. I have students with journalism degrees. I have students with software, IT engineering degrees. I have students with law degrees, as I said. I myself started off as a biochemist, so I love anybody who comes from a biology or pharmacy background. So absolutely, we understand that anybody with a good degree in any background can be really valuable. And you know, an MBA, that's exactly what an MBA is there to do, is to give people with non-business backgrounds an opportunity to get a really good strategic grounding in business. That's exactly why I did mine. So, so yes, we will take any background at all. That is absolutely fine. We do help you connect with employers and industry. As I mentioned, we have a new role that my colleague has just joined, Sarah, who is the, her title is Business Engagement and Student Experience Manager. And her role is specifically to work with students and employers and help you identify your placements. And we also have the careers office as well. So we absolutely do have that support for you. Having said that, we expect you to be proactive and identify, we can't know what kind of placement you want to do. I like to think that I'm a mind reader, but I don't think I'm that good. So you need to be proactive in identifying the employers that you would like to work for, and then we can help you bridge that gap and make those connections. I teach my students a lot about networking, about using LinkedIn, about how to make that first contact. So we have all the tools that you need, but we do expect you to be proactive as well. Again, so the international scholarship, if it says it's international, then I'm sure it is for international students. I'm afraid I just don't know enough about the finance side of it. So I will endeavour to find out more for you and get back to you. And I know that's probably a primary concern for some of you, but I would reach out to the contact on the website and ask directly, because there may even be more scholarships available right now. So I would encourage you to contact the university directly, the finance department.
And Joanna, if I could just mention,
sorry, Jamie, yes.
Jenny has posted some information about the scholarship in the chat and the eligibility. So yeah, there is some info there if anyone's interested.
Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. The university, what is the university like? Goodness, I absolutely love it here. Where we're located is actually in the valleys of South Wales. So what I love about it, I actually live in Cardiff, so I get to live in the capital city of Wales. So I live in a fabulous city with lots going on. We have lots of great nightlife. We have lots of activities. There's lots of history and culture here, of course. But at the same time, I get to work in the valleys, and I'm surrounded by hills and beautiful landscape. It does rain sometimes though, so I will warn you that you would need a rain jacket. But the university itself is a campus university in a town called Pontypridd. And just so you know, we have students actually who choose, like me, choose to live in the city of Cardiff and get the train here. You can get the train directly. Or we have students who live here in Pontypridd, where they can actually, they either rent houses together, or there is university accommodation as well. The university campus here is a campus. We're right on the side of a valley. And so all the buildings that you would ever need to go to are within walking distance on this campus. So I'm sitting in the business school right now, and we're on the side of a hill. So everything that I have to do, I have to walk up the hill too, but the university accommodation is at the top of the hill. So, and the village around here, the town is fabulous. There's lots of things to do as well. There's lots of students. So, you know, you have to remember it's not just MBA students who are here. We have undergraduate students. It's a really big university. We have nursing students, we have policing, we have criminology, we have social sciences, we have a big aerospace department. So you will never be short of things to do. And in fact, we have a big international department as well. So there's always lots of activities. I know the Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce were here the other week. So there's lots of things that we bring here to the university. We have an amazing lineup of speakers who visit the university. I was actually out at dinner with Jack Straw last November, who is he was the Home Secretary here in the UK. We have John Burko coming next month, who was the Speaker of the House of Commons. So we have some really high-profile people that come, and any student has access to come and listen to those speaking events. And in fact, that has just reminded me, you know, one of the things that I omitted to say was that within the MBA, I have managed to get access to these incredible high-profile people for the MBA students. And we've run negotiation discussions, we've had mock Brexit negotiations with them. So if you are interested in doing something like that and getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, then we have lots of opportunity to do that as well with these remarkable visitors that we have. Okay, so hopefully I tried to get a feel of the university. Is it easy to get there? Well, so I think most of the students fly into London, and then it's quite everywhere in the UK is close together. It's a small place compared with where many of you are from. So it's about a 3 hour, probably a 3 hour train journey from London. So yes, it is easy to get to. How many students will be there? Well, of course, that's all dependent. As I tried to give you a flavor for how quickly numbers are growing right now. We have 160 in the current cohort, and we have 58 from the previous cohort. So I can only imagine that is going to keep growing. So next September, we're expecting numbers to be around 250 or 300. So it's a really exciting time for us as well. Interesting business. Gosh, they're all interesting. I have a lot of people who are interested in entrepreneurship. So several are actually creating their own business cases now to go into business. And then we have many who work in, I have one student who has worked for Nestle in the past, so is particularly interested in going back into consumer products. We have students who are going into consultancy. So it's really diverse, and they're all really interesting. In fact, yesterday I had a conversation with a marketing agency who are situated in Bristol, not too far away. And they are looking to hire some MBA Global students as to do web development for them in their placements. And also I had another really interesting conversation the other week with a agroceutical company here in Wales who create an Alzheimer drug from daffodils. And they are looking to do an MBA project as well. So we've got some really fascinating partners that we're working with. We do have our Associate Vice Chancellor, Dylan Jones-Evans, who's actually an OBE. He works really closely with a lot of small companies here in Wales. So if, you know, not everybody necessarily wants to work for a big company, because I find if you're working with a smaller company, you get exposed to a lot more quickly. So he has a lot of contacts with some really great small, medium enterprises here in Wales as well that are always looking for placements as well. So I hope that answers that. So, okay, there's a general one here about how students can learn better and achieve a better outcome. Work hard. It is hard work. I don't want to fool any of you that you know, I mentioned it was 4 hours of face-to-face interaction per module. So if you're doing 3 modules, that's 12 hours a week. The term length is only 10 weeks. And 10 weeks might sound a long time, but I assure you it flies by. And within that, you know, we really expect you to learn how to learn. So I expect my students to go off and read around the subject. I give a lecture every week on frameworks and basic theory, and I want them to go off and learn how to apply that theory. So I expect a lot of my students to be proactive and go to the library and use the library and learn how to be researchers. I want you to learn how to think critically. So I think it is a lot about working hard and reading and enjoying it though as well. I'm a huge proponent of not just using academic literature, because that can get quite dry for anybody after all, but also using great business examples, real life examples. So I read The Economist a lot. I encourage all my students to look at The Economist and the Financial Times, especially with everything that is happening in the world right now. Who'd have thought the first 3 months of 2020 would have so many issues for businesses to deal with? So I like to bring in a lot of contemporary real life experiences. And again, you know, the simulation, bringing in blended learning. I know some of the other modules are going to do that as well. So there really is a lot of different ways of learning, but we expect you to do the work. Okay. I think that might be all the questions. Have I answered all the questions here?
I think, yeah, you've covered a lot of ground there, Joanna. So, I saw one come in there. It said, "Dear Joanna, how do you think this course can help with finding a good job?"
A good job. Okay. Well,
this a little bit already.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, one of the things I appreciate having done an MBA myself is that we all do an MBA in order to help our career. So I feel I'm in a unique position where I'm very aware of why people sacrifice 2 years out of potential earning to do an MBA. So first of all, you're doing one of the best things you can in order to progress your career, which is differentiate yourselves and get an MBA. But of course, remember, one of the most valuable things you will graduate with, in addition to your certificate, is your alumni network. So while you're here, you are going to meet students from all over the world, from all different backgrounds. And if you're smart, you will stay in touch with them forever, as I have done with my alumni group. So I always think it's one of the best, it's almost like a prize when you graduate, that you also get to graduate with lots of different other smart people. And so that your network will really help you always stay in a job. But of course, as I mentioned, you know, we have the careers service as well, who are well connected. They are experts in identifying roles for students, whether it be in the UK or be back in your home country. I also work with a company called Student Circus, which was set up by an international student when he was over here in the UK studying. So we have, that's a technology platform that we use, which can actually help you identify jobs back in your home country if you want to go back home afterwards. But we also have, you know, experts in immigration as well to help with those for post-study work visas as well. So I think we have, I always liken it to a gym membership. You pay the fees to come to university, which are very competitively priced fees, but you have to make use of everything we have here to offer. It's a bit like going to the gym. You will only get fit and healthy if you use the equipment. So you will only get smart and get a great job if you use the equipment we have to offer you here at the University of South Wales. So, and we have everything that you could possibly need. And of course, we all have our own personal networks as well. So I have one student who really wants to work with Rolls-Royce. And one of my colleagues here has a cousin that works at Rolls-Royce. So, you have a faculty who have lots of individual connections as well. So hopefully I've covered that. Any difference between, oh, maximum age? No, no, not at all. There is no maximum age whatsoever. We accept, as I said, I think my oldest student right now, maybe in his early 50s. I haven't been rude enough to ask him, but and he's actually here studying alongside his daughter. His daughter is studying as well. So we have all different age ranges. So please, there is no, absolutely no maximum limit at all. I'm passionate about education for everybody. Any difference between the February and September intakes? No, there's not. Basically, the only difference may be the order in which the modules are delivered. But with both intakes, the first year, the first 12 months is all study. And the second 12 months is when you would do your placement and your report write-up. So there's 180 credits altogether. And as I said, so 120 of those credits are covered by the modules that you study. And then the other 60 credits are by your final paper, which is written based on your placement. Hopefully I've covered it. I don't see any others right now.
I think so, Joanna. I think that's pretty much all questions we've...
Yeah, great questions though, really good questions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for that, guys, for your questions. And a big thank you to Joanna for presenting today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure. I hope everybody got something from it, and I look forward to seeing many of you here.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much, guys. We've put some links to the courses in the chat. So if you'd like more information, you can check out the university website, and you'll find a lot more information on there. We've got some other study abroad webinars coming up over the next week or so. So hopefully you can join us for another one of them soon. So yeah, big thank you, Joanna. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye for now.